Well, good morning. It is around 11 o'clock. I did my exchange a little late today. So I started at 8. I went over to my friend Nene's house and we chatted for a bit and I got some stuff from her. And then I went to the bank and got some quarters because we're totally out of quarters. And I drank a lot of water, so I had to get those. And then I started noticing that the weather was heating up, but it wasn't quite 10 at that point. So I figured I might be able to run over to Costco. Well, two things. One, I really found a parking spot really fast, so that was cool. And it was in the shade. So I was like, okay, it's not too far. I know exactly where to go. You can kind of go in a straight line back to your car once you get your stuff. And all I needed desperately was trash bags. And it's really crazy because now that it's just me and Donnie, not even Ben, we just don't use a lot of trash bags. However, I still use the same amount basically because, or I at least use one. I'm trying to think because we were like, how long has this box of 200 bags lasted us? And we almost think it's probably been a year, which is weird because I have to use a bag and its own trash can for my dialysis stuff. So it's all contained in its own bag. Once in a great while, I'll throw something out into the kitchen trash, but typically not. So there is a lot of waste when it comes to dialysis, that's probably the negative I have about dialysis is there's definitely trash. And then the added expenses that they don't really tell you about until you start to realize and get trained. But like I had to get the trash can, which it's not super expensive, but it's still an expense. And I got the kind that has the lid that does this because I thought maybe it'd be better to have the kind that your foot pushes. But the problem is I'm not standing over there. So now I sit on like this very comfortable bench at the end of my bed, and then my trash can's here. And so I can just toss the trash in there without actually even touching it most of the time. Or sometimes when my trash starts to get a little full, it'll like stay open because you know those swinging lid trash cans tend to have that issue, which is perfect for dialysis. So I'm able to throw everything in there without even touching the trash can. It rarely has any food in it or anything like that. I mean, sometimes I might eat something here and then toss something there, but not usually. But anyway, so Costco, I needed the trash bags. They were $18. I mean, what a deal for 200 bags. And again, I think it's lasted us a good year, but I'm going to write the date on it just to see how long it really did last. Of course, there's weird exceptions, like when my daughter comes and visits, or my son comes over for family dinner, they tend to want to order food. And so the trash can in the kitchen gets full of leftovers or take-home containers and stuff like that. But it is what it is. Nonetheless, Costco was busy, but not terribly busy. So that was also good. In fact, because I was using cash, I had to go to the checkout. And I was so thrilled when they first put in the self-checkout lanes. And there's like, I want to say 6 of them. It just made things so much easier in the checkout lanes. Mostly because I only get 2 things. Or sometimes I just go in there and I get the toilet paper. So it's like one thing and I don't want to wait in a whole line of people for the one thing. So the self-checkout goes out really fast. Well, now they switched it from being, at least at the location on Grant, on the far right side by the pharmacy and stuff like that, they moved it over to the opposite side. And I don't think they take cash. I think they have to take card. So I had to go through the main checkout, but I got in line behind this sweet little couple, and they let me go in front of them because they noticed that I only had 2 things. The other thing I got was the Folgers coffee, which is like $18, which is weird because like the Costco coffee for 25% more was $21. Yeah, so I mean, per ounce, it was cheaper to get the Folgers than it is to get the Costco brand coffee, the Kirkland. But anyway, so I just grabbed the Costco coffee because that thing will last us a while, and that's what we've been having to do, is pinch pennies when it comes to our coffee and our creamer. I haven't been able to buy my really good creamer lately because it's just been expensive. It's like $6, and it's basically this size. So it's not huge, and I don't want to say that I use a whole lot, but I'm not going to drink gross black coffee. And I have. When I first went on dialysis, I tortured myself for 2 weeks drinking straight black coffee, and yeah, you know, I did get used to it. Did I like it? Not at all. Did I enjoy it? Not at all. And I feel like I was more grouchy and more irritable because I didn't like it, and I didn't want to drink it. So therefore, I was more tired and irritable. So I was like, no, I'm not eating all this processed foods. I'm not eating the whole list of what not to eat. I don't eat at all or purchase. And then the list on which is like, yes, you can, but just minimalize it. I don't even eat half of what that is. So this thing's like weird too, like Cheez-Its. I think Cheez-Its was on that list. Skittles, it's like, I think we just need to start saying, no, don't eat that. So anyways, that was my Costco trip. It was pretty warm coming out, but a straight shot. So I was just in, grabbed the stuff, got right back out, and then came home, took Smokey out. And I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but I think I did, is that my son's dog and cat got into a scrap. Yeah, the cat did not win. They've spent thousands of dollars trying to get this cat fixed. One of the options was to put a feeding tube in the cat, which was $9,000. So I just told the kids, I was like, we love animals, but it's not our worst thing to do to them if we put them down and we lose them. I mean, yeah, it's sad, but it's not the worst sad that there could possibly be. Realistically, it's just not. It is sad, but it's not the worst sad you could experience, especially because you're a mom and dad and you have kids. There's far worse things. So I also said, what quality of life does this cat have if you're like wrapping it up in a towel? Like, first of all, you have to catch him, wrap him in the towel, and then force feed him. Like, that's chaos. That's just chaos. So nonetheless, they went ahead and did what they could for the cat. The cat is still alive, but very thin, and it has a hard time eating. And so I decided I am going to cook 2 chicken thighs. Probably will go into a pho later on this week or whatever, but I cooked it in plain broth. Like, I didn't add any seasonings because you shouldn't with animals. And I basically boiled 2 chicken thighs, and then I took a piece of the fat of the skin, chopped it up so small he could probably just lap it up, and then took that broth, just a little bit of it, over downstairs to him to see if he would eat it, and he was very interested in it. I put it on this dish, so hopefully he doesn't break my I feel like I hear something. Hold on. So I hope that he doesn't break my bowl. I put it in a little dish in his dish, so hopefully he doesn't knock it off the counter, because you know how cats are, and it's a little glass bowl. And I'm pretty certain that if it does spill on the floor, Emma will just lick it up, but I just don't want him to fight again over something. So it's a little bit like, I'm not sure. But I'll go check again in a couple hours and see how he's doing, and maybe give him some more and just see if we can kind of keep him to start healing up a little faster that way. Because when we, as humans, are having a tough time pulling back from anything crunchy and hard to process, is why we want things like chicken noodle soup or ramen. You know, we want that broth feeling. And of course, with humans, we can tolerate the sugar. No. Tolerate the salt. and the different, even on dialysis, Nor, I use Nor a lot, chicken Nor, or I will use this broth that the chicken produced and use that because it's a healing food. It's what, if you want to believe in the creator, he created, like everything breaks down into something and it's helpful. And so I thought, wait a second, let's go back a bit instead of all these fancy new scientific things and see if this helps the cat. It hopefully will. And if not, then sometimes that's just the way nature is. So anyways, I'm going to let you go. That's been my adventure. I'm doing my exchange right now, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.